Hi everyone. Today let's discuss the short story A Kitchen in the Corner of the House by C.S. Lakshmi. C.S. Lakshmi is an Indian feminist writer and independent researcher in women's studies. She's from Tamil Nadu and she writes under the pseudonym Ambai. Her other famous works are Purple Sea, A Deer. And through her works, she portrays the reality of women's lives. And this particular story, A Kitchen in the Corner of the House, is from the collection of the same title. It is a collection of 25 stories on motherhood, sexuality, and the body. A Kitchen in the Corner of the House is an outstanding story that concentrates on the experiences of women. The major characters in the story are Papaji, Gigi, Padi Gigi, Gopal, Kishan and Satish. Papaji and Gigi's 3 sons and their wives Radha, Meenakshi and Kusuma. So these are the characters in the story. This video is not a summary of the story. This is a discussion on what the kitchen in the story symbolizes. The story is a view into the life of women who are present almost all their lives inside the walls of a kitchen and are engaged in the endless household chores. The central character is Meenakshi, who has been married into a traditional household where the women covers their heads and never advises the men on household matters. Those women, they spend their hopes, miseries and all their little feelings inside the kitchen. The kitchen is placed in the corner of that house. It's a big house with a lots of rooms, but the kitchen is in the corner. And Meenakshi was married to Kishan. The first thing that she notices as soon as she arrives to her husband's home is the kitchen. It was a suffocating tiny room with 2 small windows, and there was a sink and a tap under one of those windows. And as soon as they opens the tap, the kitchen will be flooded. She sees the life of the other daughter-in-laws of the house. They are working hard every day for the family inside the hot kitchen, cooking flavorful dal and kneading hot chapatis. Radha and Kusum are under the control of Gigi, who is the mother-in-law, Kishan's mother. Gigi, the mother-in-law, who believes that she's the one who's controlling the house, has a false sense of power. She believes that since she controls the kitchen and the daughter-in-laws, she is also powerful in the house. But Meenakshi tries to make them aware that this is not real power. The power lies actually with the men of the house, with Papaji and the brothers. The only window which opens to a beautiful scenery of mountains and a temple in the kitchen is covered by a clothesline. And using this clothesline, the women are being blinded from the only happiness or the only sense of freedom that can have through the visual behind the window. The congested and covered kitchen, where the drainage water overflows all the time, is a symbol of the traditional unwritten laws that check freedom and mobility of women. Even when they are out for a picnic, the women in the house thinks about the kitchen and food. They have to feed and clean repeatedly. They apply ointments on their feet instead of finding a permanent solution for the drainage water. Meenakshi advises Papaji that the kitchen should be enlarged, and Papaji feels this conversation as a verbal assault. No woman in the house has ever put forward such opinions in front of the men. Meenakshi is the representative of the modern women who tries to break free the traditions and create free space for women, and the kitchen here is symbolic to the customs and traditions that cages the women. The never-ending chores in the kitchen symbolizes the endless hardships that most of the Indian women go through on a daily basis. The society has imprinted on the women's minds that they should remain inside the kitchen and be submissive to the men and should work like machines. In this story, Ambai, who is a feminist writer, is trying to bring into light the tortures that are done to women. The kitchen imprisons the women. The kitchen in the story is in the back of the house. It is in a neglected state, just like the women in the house. They accept their fate and works hard for nothing but insults, more work, and for a false sense of power. Bari Gigi, who is the stepmother of Papaji, she also lives a terrible life as a widow, and in order to get some liquor, she seems to act possessed. Everyone except Meenakshi believes her act. Meenakshi tries to break the norms and says her opinions, and they think that it's because she's an outsider that she acts like this. The kitchen in the corner of the house is where the women toils every day. The walls of the kitchen and the cloth wire in front of the window are the symbols of oppression. The faulty drainage not being taken care of is the symbol of neglect that these women faces. Meenakshi, an educated woman, is able to break free of these hardships imposed upon them. In order to widen the kitchen of traditional norms and customs, education is a must for all these women.